I'm gonna cut that off because I remember pulling that thing through, making up this, is this here can be unsecured from here and pull through and put in here, and then, you know, after I get it through this hole, it's supposed to have a quick disconnect on here, but I'll just twist and tape them like I did before. It's very hard to work otherwise. Yeah, this thing turns. No, it's too dangerous to leave that cover off. As much as I'd love to. I'm finding all kinds of crap in here. Now, I'm going to get a rag in here so if I can get some of this grease out of here. I'll lose my oil filler seal here. The oil that's coming out of here is not coming out of this seal down here. It's coming out, or was coming out, between the block and the oil pan. I call it oil pan, I guess you call it the sump, that gasket. And it's very hard to get a wrench in there. You can tighten this up, you can tighten this. You can't tighten them all up without pulling the engine out and doing it. Somehow the whole damn thing just got loose. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. I had this mower for quite a while, and it was losing oil because the engine was separating, and it was actually knocking, but it wasn't knocking from bearings. It was knocking from the top engine banging on the pan like this. As soon as you tightened it up, the noise stopped. So try to get this as clean as I can until the next colony of mice get in here. Take the blowgun, and I had to charge it up about 5 times so far just to do the blowing on this thing. If I used the 12-gallon Husky compressor, it would give me more time, but I have to dig it out of the shed. By the time I do that, I just as easy spend the time to recharge this one each time. And sometimes you wonder if it's even worth putting money into these things, because what little grass we have here. Last year I used a push mower, the vibrating mower. So this thing didn't get used last summer simply because the battery was stone dead and I didn't have anything heavy enough to jump it. And I said there wasn't enough grass to cut. Grass around here don't grow very good, because it's not because of the climate, it's because we need a new lawn here. I don't own the land, so we can't do that. It needs topsoil, it needs lime fertilizer, be reseeded and everything else. So we got a lot of moles here because you have a lot of grubs. The grubs bring on the moles. Well, I guess I can get the blowgun out. Oh. One last blowing here, mainly in there here. I wiped it down as much as I could. Now I'm going to take some, if I got any carburetor cleaner, I'm going to spray all through here. The linkage moves and everything, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of spraying in there, and that should be good. Well, I got a little bit of gum out. I don't have much, but a little. I thought the linkage moved. here it is, way up here, the governor. Yeah. Just clean it up a little bit. That's all. We'll let that dry, and we'll put the cover back on and put gas in it and try it out. But I got to put the battery in before I do that. I can stick this back in there. Yeah. Okay. I just hope it comes through the cover, because I had to shorten it a little bit. And I had put some windshield washer hose, I think this is, on here years ago, so it wouldn't short out onto the shell here. So when I get that through there, then I'll have to add a piece to this to bring this over to here. It'll be a Mickey Mouse thing, but then everything I do is Mickey Mouse anyways. I'll come back on the video when I try to get this cover back on here. Alright. Now, if I can get this through there. There we go. Now I get the front bolt lined up by hand first. The front ones have this little flange on here. Of course I gotta work right-handed, I'm left-handed. I can't find the damn hole, of course. That's why I hate taking this thing off. I had it off only one time since I had the tractor. I gotta turn around, I got the other side. I'm left-handed, I can't work this way. There's the hole over there. Leastwise, that's where it goes. Looks crooked. And this one then. I have to take this damn hood off. I can't see this. I didn't have to take the hood off before, but I might have to this time. Can't get them started. If it wasn't for this, I'd leave this damn thing off, honest to God. What trouble that's worth. You can see why I'm not taking the cowling on and off because of this. A lot of these things you don't see me on camera doing, and it looks like I'm doing it just smoothly along, but a lot of this stuff I don't do on camera. We'll do the back one and then we'll line up the other one. This is the back one. See if I can get my eye on it and see it, but this damn hood's in the way. Just leave that like that and get that other, see if I can get that other front one in there. Sure where the hole is. Doesn't feel good to have this thing digging into my shoulder, I'll tell you. Working on these damn new cars, which I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I like things out in the open. I like everything open where you can work on it. I might make a support for this, and I'll eliminate this cowling altogether. It'd just be a hazard having this thing spin around in there, though. But actually, this spins up here anyway, so if you was to touch this, it wouldn't be too good, would it? So really, it really doesn't matter if I take this cover off. The engine, I don't care what anybody says, the engine's going to run a lot cooler without all this stuff restricting the heat. Yeah, you get some fan action, but I have to disagree with some of the guys out there. I'll put this wire clamp back on. This I added to keep the strain off of it. Quarter-inch screw, quarter-inch, in other words, it takes a quarter-inch nut driver. She's still plugged into the, she's still plugged in underneath there. Now, I'll have to extend this, but that's not a problem because it's not going to reach because I cut so much off. But that's no problem. If you do that, we've got to tie this back up, and we've got to get the quarter-inch. Yeah, I think I'm going to, I'll see what the guys say out there. I'm sure I'll get some comments. Remove this sucker altogether. Then the mice ain't gonna stand a chance, and they build something on top of the engine, I can blow it right off. You see how much trouble it is trying to get that off before. Alright, what I'm gonna do is I'll tie these wires together, I'll extend it, I'll do all that off camera. Be back in 2 shakes of a raccoon tail this time. Well, I lost the damn clamp. I don't know what the hell happened to it. Screws here, but the clamp is gone. No, we'll just gorilla tape it to that thing. I just need to keep it from flopping around like that. So, we'll use a small piece of gorilla tape. Don't need very much. Hold that thing in place. That's all. Just to keep it away from the starter. Like I say, I keep the starter open because the Bendix spins out. And I have to shoot WD-40 in here to free it up. I mean, it frees up, but it stays engaged and, or disengaged, I should say, and just spins and spins. All right. That's good and tight. That's out of the way there. Capillary action that shows you that it's filled overfull, but it isn't. We'll get a cloth and check the oil level here. According to that, she needs just a wee bit of oil. She's between the 2 dots. So I'll probably put a little bit of, but right now I want to see if she'll start. This is going to be awful because I got this thing down here. And I don't think I can remove. Positive goes on this side. This is the positive. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that in there. It's awful hard without a handle. I'll tell you. Try to get that thing out. That's in there a long ways. I'm going to have to take some heavy tools and see if I can get that thing out of here. Show you what I mean. This thing here, because without a handle it was always tough, real hard to get it in and out. I know this holds it in, and without it the battery's all over the place, but and try to put it in, but I might not be able to get it out again. I'm better off just trying to. This goes in about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch on each side, so I'm going to have to try to squeeze it together here with some kind of a big vice grip or something and get it out of there. Okay, I cut them off with the bolt cutters. That does that. Now I got to change the battery in this camera and be back on the video in a minute. Alright, I got the battery in, and of course she'll move around a lot, but I pushed it up in there. I just got to connect up the terminals here, and I could probably put something in there to block it from moving around. I'm not too worried about that. We've got to make sure that this thing runs. We'll come back in the video in a minute here. What I did is I cut the other thing out as I showed you, and I found this. I don't even know where it came from. I'm going to slide this inside. There's a hole on each side. I'm going to slide it through and to the other side like that. Now if you look in here, you see it's in about the same place. It just isn't rock tight up against this, but it'll fall out. So what I'm going to do, if I have the tap for that, I'm going to put threads on this end here. I'm going to tap that. Actually use a die, I should stand corrected. My tap and die set, and we're going to put some threads on that. Not sure what I got for dies. We're going to take a look now. These sets, these tap and die sets, I've got given to me, I'm going to say 1965 by my boss in the vending company many years ago. Many years ago. So we're going to try to find a die here that's going to fit that rod. It might be one of these down here. So I'll be a minute. I'm going to pick the right size. I'll be right back on this video. Now this is number 832 thread. So she fits the rod good in here. So we're going to cut, and we cut from this end because we got a little bit of a taper here on the threads. So we start cutting on here. Before I do that, I got to mount this with a vice grip or something to hold this from turning. Okay, got it held in a vice grip here. I don't have any cutting oil, but we're going to use sewing machine oil. We're only doing a little bit of threading on this thing, so it's not a big deal. Alright, let's try this die. Not knowing the exact size of this rod here. This is a little bigger than what I had. This ain't going to be a perfect. It's supposed to be square on the work. Square as I can be. Should really do this in the shed and on a vise, but I'm trying to demonstrate for you out here. Going slow. But she's going. Got to put enough threads on this. Now, usually you rock it back and forth to what they call break the threads. But they're, even on this here documentation, it's telling you not to unless you really need to do that. Because I've used taps many times in the years past, but I very rarely have ever used a die. And this is a die set, tap and die set. A tap is, can't get it out here to show you. This is a tap. This will make threads on the inside, and a die will make threads on the outside. In other words, a die will make a bolt, where a tap will make a nut. Or if you have to tap a hole in the block or something of your engine so that you can insert a bolt, then you'd use a tap. Now I just got to find a nut that'll go on here. But I want to put enough threads on here so that I'll be able to adjust it. Now, let's see. It's got threads on them, but it's not very good threads. They're not very good threads. This is probably not a standard size rod anyway, it's just something I have in the, probably metric crap. I call metric crap, nothing standard to what you got here. This is good old American standard, SAE. And I'm probably trying to tap a, okay. Alright, now we rock it off. Well, it's a fine thread, which is not what I want. But it shouldn't take that long. Put this on macro, I'll show you. Alright, you can see it's not a beautiful thread. It doesn't have a lot of root to it. But it is, as you can hear, a thread enough that I can probably put a nut on this just to keep this rod from falling out of the tractor. That's all it is. We'll try to clean up the thread on it. Maybe I'll put another die through it or not, or something like that. I'm not sure yet. See if I can clean it. You can adjust these dies. What you've got is a little screw on each side. I don't know if I'm in camera or not, on each side of the die, that you can bring the cutting edges closer, so forth. But I'm not going to mess with that simply because that's probably a non-standard thickness of rod that I tried to die, and if I change it, then it's not going to be set for the proper size American standard size stuff. So we'll see if we can get a nut to work on that too. Come back a little while. Alright, I'm trying another die here because I'm having a little problem getting anything to go on that. So we're trying a national coarse thread. Instead of a 24 thread, we're trying a little coarser thread on this. And we're going over this, so it's probably going to mess it up. But like I say, it's only got to hold a nut on there to hold this rod from sliding out. And that's all it's going to do. And by the way, I'm not a machinist. By no means. I'm just jackass, as I said so many times before. Thread looks a lot better on the other end here. Might be able to get something on there. Having a lot of trouble with my batteries in my camera. Had to drag out my other camera here. So I ain't got time to charge them. And I didn't even get to running the lawnmower yet. We're going to have to break off the thread here, because they get clogged up. You back it off and then you go forward again. Back on this in a minute. I don't want to run out my batteries here. Okay, hope that focuses in. You can see we got a much cleaner thread now, and I can really feel that should take a nut quite well there. And we'll put lots of grease on it so that it doesn't rust up and everything when I need to take it out again. Alright, if you look in there, I got a nut and a washer on it. Only one, because I'm going to put some grease over the whole thing. I don't want this thing to be impossible to get out. And the rod is nice and firm in there, but it's about a 1/4 inch or so, 3/8 of an inch away from the battery. Just keeps the battery from flying around in there. On this end, you can see it's got a nice little hook in there. I'm not sure what this thing was at one time. I don't know whether it was a marshmallow toaster rod or what the heck it was. But I save all this stuff. You never know when you're going to need it. I'll put some of this grease on there just to keep it from rusting up. Well, if the batteries don't die on the camera, we'll be all set. This is the first time I ever tried starting it this year. That surge in everything I own surges, so I don't worry about it. I just run a half choke if I have to. It looks like it's a success. Wouldn't you say? Well, that's the story. So we're going to put it back in the shed now because we're not cutting grass today. We got it all ready to go though. Thanks for watching, everyone.